Hello and welcome to Billy Ho Sports. So, whether you're a casual bettor or a seasoned handicapper, we all have our go-to bets that we like and we're most comfortable with. I don't know if maybe you're afraid to try some new or more complex wagers, but what I wanted to do was go over some bets that I like to use that I've learned over the years that helped me become a better bettor, so to speak. So, I appreciate you joining me today. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so. Don't forget to like too. And let's talk about some bets. Today, we're going to just focus on like a single race wager. We could get into picks, threes, fours, and fives, and all that other stuff at another time. But I figured single race wagering is where most casual bettors and novices are at right now. So, comments and questions, leave them below, please, because normally I don't do these videos because things get lost in translation and it's hard to explain things. So, I'm really going to try to stick closely to a script because sometimes these videos can easily go off on tangents. So anyway, most everybody that follows me, Billy Ho Sports, subscribe and like. They know how win, place, and show wagering works. So my first really kind of tip, it's not really a great tip, but anyway, take advantage money back special promos on sites like TVG and Twin Spires. They cater specifically to newer bettors. And basically, what it amounts to is up to your very first $10 in a win bet. They refund that to you if your horse doesn't win, but finishes second or third. But you have to make sure you opt in. There's always a little button to click that says opt in. So when you go to those money back special promos, click that button first. Then it'll tell you underneath what all the eligible races are for the weekend or whatever it is, and it'll give you a little logo that says opted in or whatever, and you'll know that that's a money back special race. So be aware, field size matters. We're going to talk a little more about that in a few minutes, so stick around. Next up, I'll make it win place bets, not just bet. You make your money back special bet pool. You got three places, but if you don't win, you don't win any money. You just get the money back you bet, which is not terrible because you live to fight another race. But if you add in that place bet, and you find but you need to find a horse with some value. 3-1 or better is kind of where I draw the line myself. Basically, if you get like a 9-5 horse, it's not going to pay very much money. It's going to pay like $3 to place, so you're really not getting that much back. But a horse, and I'll show you here in just a second. We're going to do an example race, and this is a really sweet example. We don't get races like this all the time, so I'll show you another more chalkier race right after that. But anyway, let's take a look at race number 10 at Churchill Downs yesterday. Okay, this is race number 10 yesterday at Churchill Downs. It is a claiming race, 8 furlongs. The conditions aren't that important, but 8 furlongs on the dirt. So there's your order of finish right there. We're not going to show the race replay because we don't really need to, but just for the purposes of the video, field size. So you see there's already 2 scratches. Well, it's a field size of 10. And fields from 8 to 10 horses, in my opinion, I call them the Goldilocks zone. Some like to go up to 12. I like to up to 12. There's nothing wrong with going to 12 horses in a field. A few more horses sometimes doesn't make that much of a difference. But my wheelhouse is 8 to 10 horses. So this one turns out to be 8 horses because 2 of them got scratched. So anyway, and that's kind of how the Kentucky Derby is so hard to handicap. 20 horse field. So anyway, this race was particularly special because, as you can see by the odds, there are no chalky, super chalky, even money or 9-5 or 2-5 type horses in the race. You've got 5-2, 7-2, 7-2, 9-2, 5-1. This is a great example of a value-rich environment. These are the horses. These are the races handicappers like me love to get down on because you can get you can spread out and you get good return on your investment. So first, what I was talking about, the win place example. So we look up here at the 7 horse Parkway. Parkway is 9-2. That's in our wheelhouse. That's 4.5 to 1. So, just as an example, if you bet 5 to win place, which is a $10 investment, you would get back 2.5 times $5.24, which is like $13.10. So you make $3.10, small profit, but really it just gives you your money back plus a little bit so you can bet the next race, which is kind of what the place, how I feel the place is kind of like a hedge. You're betting to win. So if you would have won the race, you would have got an additional 27.50, which would have got you $40 back. That's what we're looking for. So the higher the odds, the more you spread. So, like you could go win, place, or show. I typically don't. I typically don't. Be honest with you, don't do show betting whatsoever. I'd usually just stick to win, place. But if you want to add in the show and go what they call across the board, I do those for double digit odds horses because that way you don't have to bet 5 across and spend 15. You can bet 3 across and spend and get 9 and invest $9. So I hope that was informative. Let me know in the comments section what you think so far. We're going to take a look right now at the chalkier race number 5. Okay, so you see who wins the race? Gnome de Plume, the 3 horse, 2-5, massive chalk, right? Now, sometimes that's not that bad because if you get a real super chalky horse, that means that it's going to pump the odds up. And you can see there's a couple of scratches in here. So this race drops to 6, which, like I said before on field size, just touch on that real quick. Fields less than 8 horses negate money back special returns on third place. So that's one negative. Now, fields less than 6 horses negate money back specials, period. So fields of 5 or less, you want to stay away from money back special betting because you don't get any advantage on that. So this race is probably one I'd pass on because it only does have a field of 6 and not really any jockey trainer combos. I do like to play jockey trainer combos. So I would probably not be much into this race. But like I said, with a 2-5 favorite, you do get inflated odds. Like the second choice is 6-1, and the third choice is 3-1. So that kind of lines up things a little bit decently. But anyway, uh, so I would definitely pass on this race because like my dad used to bet like 3 horse exacta boxes, and he spent $1, right? So if you spend $1, 3 horse box, and you box the 3, 6, and the 8, that's going to cost you $6. Well, the $2 exacta paid $9.64. So you'd get half of that. So you lose money. And I've done it myself. And that's why I don't do 3 horse exacta boxes anymore because they can be negative EV. You can win the race, cash the ticket, and actually lose money. And there's nothing more frustrating than doing that. So let's see. Next up, we're going to get into exotics betting. Exactas. We'll start with those. Those are the most common. Most people know about exacta betting. You pick the top 2 horses to finish in order 1-2. Tip number 1 on that: always box when you have 2 horses, so you can cover it both ways. You don't want to bet 1-2 and it come in 2-1 and you don't have it. Personally, I don't like to use more than 2 horses in an exacta box unless the value is there. Like our race 10 example, when you have 7-2s and 9-2s and 5-1s, then you can get some return on investment. But you get down to like that previous race 5 example, and you got a 2-5 horse in there, you're not going to get a very good return on investment. So race 10 was a good example, race 5 not. So the next tip I'd offer you is trifectas. Use a key horse. And what I mean by that is you keying makes it more affordable. And keying is picking the horse you're most confident in, and that's your key horse. And then you pick horses underneath that. And the best way I can describe this is using a trifecta key box. Like I said, it's always important to box horses. Well, the trifecta key box is means all your horse has to do, your key horse has to finish in the one of the top three places, win, place, or show. So we're going to take a look back at that race 10 and take for an example, an angle I love to play is the jockey trainer combo. So let's get over to race 10 and take a look at that race once again. Okay, so if I was going down through this, obviously I'd probably be using past performances, Brisnet, and looking up some different things. But the first angle I love to play is jockey, mainly trainer, but then jockey also. So the trainer jockey combo. Like I would look right at this and go, oh, Norm Cassie, I like him, and Florent Giroux, good trainer jockey combo. Obviously 5-2, that's the favorite. Copper Echo, and then I maybe look down here a little more and then I see Steve Asmussen, his son Eric Asmussen, not bad. But the one that stands out to me is Brad Cox and Luis Saez. Brad Cox, obviously one of my favorite trainers, about as good as you can get, especially on dirt. Luis Saez, quality jockey, winning at an 18% clip. But more importantly, Luis Saez hits the board at nearly a 50% rate. So half the races he's on the board. So this is going to be our key horse, the 9 horse. So if we go down and look to play underneath, it's reasonable to assume I like to go up to 4 horses underneath, which for a 50-cent trifecta only costs $18. So I would go through and it would be reasonable to assume you would take the 3, the 5, the 7, and the 8, just for that sake. So 3, 5, 7, 8 for our underneath horses, which would be likely. So actually, the 9 does not win the race, but you don't need the 9 to win. You just need it in the top 3. So the 9 finishes third, and then you have 8, 7 finishing first and second, which works out pretty good because you get the trifecta, which is $1 trifecta paid $100.16. So 50-cent trifecta is half that. So you're talking $51 or so for the trifecta on an $18 investment. Nice return. Now, another favorite bet of mine is an Exacta key box. So let's go look at a real life example from yesterday at Del Mar. This one was a race number 6, was a maiden claiming 8 furlongs on the dirt. These are races. I like those dirt races. One-turn dirt races are fine. 7 furlongs, 8 furlongs, things in that range are good. Mile and a 16th. Those are the kind of races I do like personally. I also love me some turf racing. Don't get me wrong there. So anyway, so I look at this yesterday and really I didn't look at past performances or anything, honest to God. I went down through here and said, I want to bet this race. Who looks good? Which trainers and jockeys? Wait a minute. Juan Hernandez. That's first ding. Juan Hernandez wins at like 21% clip, but he's well over 50% in the money. So that looks good. Philip D'Amato, he's usually right around 50% in the money himself, 41% in that range. So there's my key horse. We're going to take the 9. 3-1 looks pretty good. Look at the spread here. 1 through 10 horses. That's the Goldilocks zone. Look at who's the favorite. Well, it looks like 3-1. Then you have a 7-2. Then you have a 3-1 and a 7-2. So that looks like a pretty fairly value-rich environment. So we take the 9. And what I like to look at is other trainers like Doug O'Neill. This is out west at Del Mar. Doug O'Neill, very good at high in the money trainer as well. He's like right around 50% himself. So I take the 2 Doug O'Neill entries underneath. So I go 9 with 8, 10. That means if the 9 wins, either the 8 or the 10 have to run second. Now, if the 9 doesn't win, the 8 or the 10 need to win, and then the 9 runs second, vice versa, right? But you got 3 horses, which gives you a better chance of winning. So if things break in my favor, the 9 wins the race, the 8 comes in second. Actually, if you look at the odds, if the 8 had won and the 9 came in second, I would have got an even larger payout because the 8 was 9-1. That's juicy. But anyway, the dollar exacta pays $36.60, which I had a $2 exacta bet that cost $8. So that returned a tidy $73. And there's your proof of purchase, so to speak. So took the 9 classically over the 8, the 10, and there's your cash. So I did actually try the bet again, which I failed miserably in that one. But I only wagered $16, got back 73. That's just a nice little action-packed event there. So I'm going to stop there because I could see the class falling asleep on me. But anyway, it's really hard to explain this stuff. So if you do have any questions, don't hesitate. Put them in the comments. I'll try to answer them the best I can. While you're at it, please subscribe to the channel. Hopefully you got something out of this video. I know I did. I love bringing content to the people. So smash that like button while you're at it. And we're going to get into some more betting videos very soon. Maybe we'll get into those picks 3, pick 4, pick 5 type races, multi-race wagering, so to speak, daily doubles and whatnot. Until then, see you soon.